Hey, what's going on YouTube? Welcome back to Tech Conversations. I'm your host Guillermo. It is September 13th. Hope you're all having a great day today. As you can see, we finally recovered today. We're up $100 today right now. We were down almost $1,000. So we'll see what the rest of the day brings us. Now in today's video, I want to talk about Webull and how to set up and make money on Webull by using the iron butterfly, also known as the iron fly. And this is a strategy best suited for a neutral environment. So before I get into this video, all I ask is that you guys hit the like button down below and subscribe, guys. It really helps out the channel. And if you haven't signed up to Webull yet, there is a link in the description below to sign up. You'll get two free stocks valued up to $2,000 by using that link in the description below. It's great having multiple brokers, especially in cases where one is having technical difficulties. You can use the other ones, or you also just have more day trades, right? If your account is under 25,000, you'll have more day trades because you'll have 3 on each broker. You also have access to extended hours on Webull, which I really like. So this includes trading pre-market from 4 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. Eastern time, and after hours from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern time. So you can kind of get into your favorite stocks before the rest of the crowd. Now, one important thing to note here, in order to trade the iron butterfly and more advanced option trading strategies on Webull, you do need to have level 3 options, okay? And so we take a look here on this documentation here, we'll see that the level here, level 3, is where you have access to strategies like credit spreads, debit spreads, butterfly spreads, and of course the iron butterfly here. Now, to have level 3 options, you also do need to have a margin account, as you can see here, right? The strategies aren't allowed with just a cash account. You do need a margin account for this. So you do need level 3 options to do this, and you do need to have a margin account to have level 3 options. So the process does take quite some time. It took me about 3 weeks to switch from a cash account to a margin account. So just keep that in mind. Lastly, guys, I will be using the Webull desktop app for this demo. You can go to webull.com, and then there's this download tab here. You can click on it, and this allows you to download this Webull desktop app that I'm going to show you guys here. So let's go into that app here now. So I'm going to go over here, and let's take a look at how we can set up and again make money on Webull with the iron butterfly in this video. So right now we're on the watch list tab here on the desktop app. We want to go over to the stocks tab here. So right now I'm on Tesla. As you can see here, we have the chart for Tesla. We have the stock price for Tesla. So the first thing we need to do here, of course, is we need to go over to the stock that we want to set up the iron butterfly on. And so for today's video, I'm just going to use Apple stock as an example. So I'm going to go up here and search up Apple, and then I'll go ahead and click on Apple here. So here's the chart for Apple, tells me the share price of Apple right now. And so ultimately what we need to do here is we want to go to the options for Apple. So to get to the options, we go up here. There's multiple tabs on the top here. We want to go to options. So let's click on options here. So this is going to show us the single options for Apple, both calls and puts, multiple strikes here. And as you can see, this is for the expiration date of September 17th, right, 2021. So the first thing we need to do here, of course, is we want to choose a proper expiration date for this strategy. So remember, on Webull, to choose an expiration date, what you can do is you can collapse and expand these sections. So if we click on this drop down arrow, this will collapse those options that expire on September 17th, and then we can see all the other expiration date options that we have here. So again, they're all kind of like their own little sections here. I'm going to go ahead and just leave it as September 17th for the iron butterfly here. But again, feel free to choose whatever expiration date you find appropriate. Remember, it does tell you here how many days there are left until it expires. So I'm going to go ahead and choose September 17th here, leave it as that expiration date. Now, the next thing we need to do is we want to go up here on the top left where it says single, because these are all single options here. We want to click on the drop down, and this will give us access to all the strategies right now that are allowed on Webull here. So what I'm going to do is I want to go to the iron butterfly, because that's what we're focusing on here today. So here's the iron butterfly, and again, this is showing the iron butterfly for Apple. Now, as you can see, scrolling down, right, there are so many options here. Like literally, there's so many options here. Kind of starts to get overwhelming. So what I like to do is I like to go up here where it says all. That shows all the options here. And I like to kind of just, bring it down a little bit so there's not that many. And honestly, you can probably just go to 10, and this should be sufficient enough for the iron butterfly. Remember, the iron butterfly is best suited for a neutral environment. So you really only want to, be looking at strikes that are near the share price, right? Because ultimately you do want the stock to, for the most part, trade sideways. So I'll just go to 10 here. And as you can see, we have a lot less options now. Just makes it a lot easier to kind of take a look and see what's going on. The other thing you can do here that I like to do is I like to click on this arrow here, which will sort it from descending or ascending depending on what you want. I like seeing it this way where the higher strikes are on the top, and then as we go down, we see the lower strikes here. So now that we have that here, let's just quickly talk about here, how does an iron butterfly work, right? What do we want to happen? How can we make money with the iron butterfly? So again, this is a neutral strategy. You want to use the iron butterfly on stocks that tend to trade sideways. And what I mean by trade sideways is that they don't move a lot in share price, right? It kind of stays, the share price stays between a defined range. It doesn't move a whole lot. Is Apple the best stock for this? Probably not, but I just chose it just to give you guys an idea as to, how this works. So what we first want to do when it comes to the iron butterfly is we want to determine what price we believe that this stock will be at on the expiration date. What price do we think that Apple will be at on September 17th? And what we do is we start by selling a put and selling a call at the closest strike price to that price that we came up with. Then what we're going to do is we're going to buy a put below those options we just sold, and we're going to buy a call above the options we just sold. And that call and put that we buy need to be the same distance away from the options that we sold. Okay, so it's very important to do that, or else you're creating some other strategy. And so ultimately, this should end up being a credit. And ultimately, you want to again profit from neutral stock price action at the strike of your short options. So let's just go through an example here. So let's say that on the expiration date of September 17th, I believe Apple will be at $148 a share. What I want to do is I'm going to want to sell a put and sell a call at that strike. So the 148 strike. And so remember, when it comes to the options you're seeing here, you do have control over how far apart the strikes are. I'm going to set mine as 1. Right now it's at auto, but I'll just set it as 1 just so that, again, that you guys know that you can kind of do that and, again, have more control over the distance between the strikes. So now all the strikes here are going to be 1 apart. And the reason I did that is because I want to, I'm going to sell my call, sell my put at the 148 strike. Then I'm going to buy a put under it. I want to buy my put at 147. Now, since that is 1 away from the options I'm selling, right, because 147 is 1 away from 148, I need to buy a call above the options I'm selling. That is also 1 away from the options I'm selling, so it needs to be 149. And so ultimately, if we take a look here, this one matches all our requirements, right? Here's the put and call we're selling at the 148. We're buying a put right under, which we determined we wanted to do it at 147. Since this is 1 away from the options we're selling, the call we need to buy above needs to also be 1 away from the options we're selling. So here is what I want to do here. So what I can do is I can go ahead and click on here. You can click on either one of these, doesn't matter. We can ultimately just set it up to be what we want it to be here. So again, a couple of things here to note. So you can still change the strategy on here. You can change your strikes if you want, and the width as well. You can change your expiration, but ultimately we've already covered that. Now, one thing very important here is that make sure that we're selling this, because again, we do want to enter the strategy for a credit. It should be a credit. That's how the iron butterfly works. Otherwise, you're entering a different strategy, right? So if it's buy here, that's not what you want to do. You don't want to be buying it. You want to be selling it. And again, you should know that by the fact that if it's on buy, you're going to be paying a debit. That's not how the iron butterfly works. Iron butterfly should be a credit. So it should be sell here. Other thing, of course, is that quantity goes to 10. You probably aren't going to want 10. Maybe you'll just want 1 or 2. So I'm going to switch that to 1 here. And then remember, your order type can be limit or market. Please use limit so you can have more control over what, how much credit you're willing to receive. Right? What's the least you're willing to receive to enter this trade? And then just quickly take a look at each individual legs and make sure that this looks correct, right? We're selling a put, we're selling a call, same strike. We're buying a put with a lower strike. So under the options we sold, that's 1 away from the options we sold. And then we're buying a call above the options we sold. And again, that's 1 away from the options we sold. So that's perfect. That's exactly what we talked about. This looks correct. Other things we can do here, of course, there's this arrow you can click on. So this is telling me that I'm going to be receiving a premium here, a credit of $94. Day trades left. I have 3 day trades left. My max loss is $6. My max profit is $94. So in this strategy, this iron butterfly, I'm risking $6 to make $94 here, right? And so that's a very nice risk to reward ratio. But as you'll see, if the stock doesn't trade sideways, it's going to be very hard to make money here. So again, you can also go to the graph here. It does show you a graph as to basically, kind of what your, losses, gains will be on the expiration date. So ultimately, we do want Apple to be at on expiration date to be at 148, which is the strikes that we're selling. The options we're selling, that's where the strike price is at. That's where we're going to make our max profit, as we can see here. And then we can kind of go left and right and take a look at, kind of how our profit losses changes depending on the price. And then, of course, you can switch things up here as well. But anyways, we would go ahead and place our order here. And then this will kind of tell you, give you some more information, kind of tell you what has to happen here for you to make money. But now that we've done this, let's go over to option strat and, of course, visually take a look at what this will look like depending on the price of Apple, depending on what date it is, because it's a lot more detailed. It shows you kind of also what happens prior to the expiration date. This only shows you the expiration date. And again, remember, you want to be doing this before you enter your trade. So I'm going to go back here and I'm going to go over to option strat, which is right here. So I can go to build, I can go to iron butterfly on here. And so again, we're using Apple. We used Apple as an example. So let's go to Apple here. Let's go to September 17th. So remember, we started by selling a call, selling a put at the price we thought the stock would be at on expiration. We chose 148 for that example. And then we bought a put under that. So we chose the 147. That's 1 away from these options we're selling. So you have to buy a call above. That's also 1 away at the 149. And so this is what it looks like. So again, we're entering the strategy for a credit. We're getting $93. Max loss is $7. The most we can lose here is $7. And then it gives us our break evens as well. So this will probably look a little bit more like this because again, Apple doesn't move a whole lot, but it also doesn't really trade sideways. So it probably look a little bit something like this. Again, you can be profitable prior to the expiration date. So you don't have to wait until the expiration date to close out. You can close out before for, partial profits. But again, ultimately, what you do want to happen is that on the expiration, Apple is at the price of the strikes of the options you sold, right? Because that's where you would make your max profit if it was at 148. And again, you can kind of take a look at, how implied volatility going up, how implied volatility dropping affects this trade as well. So anyways, this is how the iron butterfly works. Again, it's best suited for a neutral environment. You want to find stocks that trade sideways, that don't move a lot. And that is how you would set it up on Webull as well. So if you have any questions about anything I just talked about, feel free to leave them in the comments section below. Check out the Discord, link to it in the description below. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you guys think, and I will see you guys next time.